Hi, guys. Or in the words of the Apostle Paul, grace and peace to you from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Recently, I mailed out a quarterly giving report to everyone who has given a financial gift to Grace Community thus far during this calendar year. And in that mailing, I included a letter informing you of some of the things going on in the life of the church during this really strange year we're having. But in case you didn't receive the letter, or in case you didn't bother to read the letter, I thought I'd deliver some of that same information in this format because it's stuff you really need to know and celebrate with us. So here goes, 7 things. Number 1, because of the visionary foresight and sacrificial generosity of our congregation several years ago, we have a beautiful piece of ground on which to hold outdoor services during this pandemic. Grace Community owns 22 acres divided into 2 11-acre tracts. The northernmost tract was purchased nearly 20 years ago now for $252,000 and paid off within 3 years. And if you were part of the congregation at that time and helped make that happen, all the people enjoying that space now owe you a giant thank you. What a gift. It's been wonderful to have this space to gather and worship during these days. And number 2, we're continuing to pre-record and post our weekly services on Facebook and YouTube. We've received many words of thanks from those far and near who are taking advantage of our online presence. This would not be possible without your financial support. Your giving allows us to pay for internet service, purchase the needed equipment, lights, cameras, computers, etc., have a building in which to house and use the equipment, have the essential personnel on staff to help make it all happen. And speaking of essential personnel, let me give a shout out to Adam Johnson, who has been the mastermind and major driver of our online services these days. Number 3, and speaking of online services, when, he said with great faith, when we get to meet in our building again, and that will happen sometime, we plan to live stream our services. Recently, we received a very generous donation specifically to purchase some high-end production equipment that will help us live stream and do it really well. We're also in the process of hiring a part-time, 10 hours a week, a part-time person to oversee the streaming process for us. In fact, allow me to introduce Matt Smith and his fiancee, Bethany. We're excited about Matt joining our ministry team and helping us further develop our online ministry. Number 4, as I'm sure you're aware, our children, youth, and adult discipleship ministries just look different these days. But I'm so thankful for a pastoral team that's passionate and hardworking and creative and determined to not allow COVID to stop us from leading the church forward in discipleship these days. Without your generous giving, our pastoral team would not be a possibility or a reality. So thanks for making that possible. Number 5, some of you have perhaps wondered about our church plant down in Osawatomie. So have we. Just kidding. They're still in business. They couldn't meet for the first 2 or 3 months, but they're now meeting again and trying to figure out what in the world it looks like to plant a new church during a global pandemic. And obviously, this is not an ideal climate for starting a new church. It provides major challenges. But kudos to Pastor Dale and Julie and their entire launch team for their tireless work and their dogged determination to make it happen. I'm so proud of the work that they're doing. Number 6, you might also be wondering about our building plans. As many of you know, we had engaged the services of an architectural firm and we're beginning the work of planning for future expansion. In fact, we were hoping to be ready like right now, this fall, to roll out a plan and to begin a capital campaign to make it all happen. And then COVID said, not so fast. And so we're still doing some of the behind the scenes work and planning, but along with the rest of the world, we have absolutely no idea what the longer term financial impact of this pandemic is going to end up looking like. And so we have indefinitely suspended pulling the trigger on actually building. But don't worry, the plan is only delayed, not dead, hopefully. Number 7. Recently, we made a very exciting announcement, but in case you missed it somehow, I'll say it again. Because of God's hand of blessing and because of your ongoing generosity, our giving throughout this pandemic thus far has remained strong. And so we, meaning your church board, decided that perhaps we, meaning Grace Community, should come alongside another ministry or two that has taken more of a financial hit during these months. As a board, we discussed it and we prayed about it. Then we decided to give $5,000 to our friends and ministry partners in Rwanda to help them feed the people of their community who are out of work due to COVID and desperately in need of food. We also gave $20,000 to our friends and ministry partners here in Kansas City at the Blue Hills Church of the Nazarene, a predominantly African-American congregation, to help them continue their important and effective ministry in the city. These acts of extravagant generosity would not be possible without your regular, faithful giving. So thank you. Thank you so much. There is so much more that could and perhaps should be mentioned, but I think you get the picture. Because of your generous giving, our world is being impacted for God and for good through the ministry of Grace Community. And so thank you. A million times thank you, and may God continue to bless you as we together become and invite others to become authentic followers of Christ.